Hello, it's me again, and now we're journeying on to our next stop in the solar system, which is Venus. Venus is the second planet of the solar system, and it's in many ways a planet that's a lot like our own, but with very important differences. It's called our twin planet because its size and its mass are very much like ours. But while ours is a planet of maybe more ice, Venus is a planet of more fire. So as such, because it's our twin planet, we have two sides that are bandaged, or the centers move along with the whole side. The rest don't. The rest they move independently. Venus also has the interesting characteristic of orbiting clockwise, whereas everything else orbits counterclockwise, which means on the Earth, the sun sets in the west, rises in the east. On Venus, the sun sets in the east and rises in the west. So it's just the opposite. It has a runaway greenhouse effect where its surface temperature is about 460 degrees, and the atmosphere is so thick it's actually about as dense as 1 kilometer deep in the ocean, so you can literally swim in it. It's filled with lightning strikes at the top area. It's pummeled by cosmic rays because there's not much of a magnetic field to protect it from it. So it is truly a planet you wouldn't want to visit, and it makes for interesting solving with the cubes. So we're going to navigate our way through this one, and once again start off by scrambling. Abracadabra. And it's scrambled. Ha! Spielberg's got nothing on me. So what we're going to do is we have to prime the cube. We can't use exactly the same strategies because with the Mercury it was just one side, but Venus is both sides. So we're going to talk about how to variate the strategies a little bit. So the first thing that we want to do is we actually want to get the cross on all the middles. Well, we'll start off with the white side. I usually use that as the starting point anyway. So I'm going to start off getting a cross here, and we're going to set the cube up so that we can do our layer by layer method and then do the triangles in the center. So using this side here, if need be, I'm just going to put in the white side. So white cross, the other white one's over here. So turn this and bring it on up. So we have our plus over here. Now what you could do is you could just get pluses on all sides. We're going to go ahead and get the cross. So once we have the cross here, you can start getting the crosses on the other layers using the yellow one to move things into position. And it's pretty easy. So here's blue over here. I want to move this blue down without messing this side up. So I got the yellow here. So I'm going to move this around, put the yellow up, rotate it down, move it down. So that's over there. So we get the plus sign on all sides. Now the fun begins. I'm going to go back to my white side, and I'm going to start filling in these edges here. In order to move the edges, the outside edges into position, you can see this is already in position, just not lined up at the proper center for the proper cross. We'll find another white one. Here's another white here. So we see that this is white and this is orange. So what I want to do is move it into the white and orange side up here, which is here, white and orange. So I'm going to move this into position so that this is lined up where it needs to be, so that all you'd have to do is rotate it like this. Of course, as you can see, we rotated the white one out. So we want this to rotate up here without moving this. And this has a simple algorithm, basically holding it to the with the front face where you want to rotate it into, Li to a F, I, L, Fi, Li, 2F, and then L. So you can see this move that into position here. Now we can move that where it needs to be, and then we just do the same thing. Here's another one, white and green. I'm looking for the white and green, which is here. So I'm going to move this into position to where it needs to be rotated. So on the right side, holding it like this, it's going to be R, F, Ri, F, R, 2F, Ri. So you can see it put that into position. So this is where it needs to be. This is where it needs to be. How about the white and blue? And here it is right here. And line it up to where the blue is going to meet the blue. Li, Fi, L, Fi, Li, 2F, Li. I'm sorry, L. So do like I write and not like I say. But anyway, so this is where it needs to be. This is where it needs to be. So is this. What about this guy over here? This is all turned around. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knock it out and just randomly put another one in there. Once I knock it out, I can put it back in the right configuration. So I'm just going to rotate this one in. So, okay, my whole purpose of that was to get this out over here. And this algorithm does not mess these sides up. So we'll move this into position and then do our algorithm from the right side. The R, F, RI, F, R, 2F, RI. So we have our upward our cross at the very top here. So the next step is we start filling in the crosses here as well. I generally do the yellow side just because it's easy, and then I start hitting these over here. Now bear in mind, in order to make this algorithm work, you must have one of the bandage sides on top. But let's just go ahead and put the cross here on this bandaged yellow side because it's easy, and it's the same algorithm. So here's a yellow and blue. Let's go look for the yellow and blue part. It's actually right here. So this just needs to rotate up here. So exactly the same algorithm on the right side. R, F, R, I, F, R, 2F, R, I. So that's where it needs to be, rotating around. Here's a yellow and orange. Yellow and orange, there she blows, so this goes up here, yellow and orange. And there it is. We have this in position. We have not messed any of these up. So last we have the yellow here. This is already set up over here for the yellow and red. So move it in position so that this can just be rotated here, and same thing but on the left side. Alright, so we're cruising. We are taming Venus. We've got this. Now what about these parts here? Now I've already said that I can't turn it here and do it. It's just not going to work. You're going to mess up these centers here. So what we have to do is, in order to put these into place, we have to move them to one of our bandaged sides. So let's take a look at this here first. I want to put this red and green into position. So let's find the red and green side, which is actually right here, red and green. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge, move it up here, and then move it across to meet this outer edge here. So inner to outer. But I want to rotate this to where it's going to meet the red, so this will rotate in this direction. So green to green, and then the red is going to rotate up here. Once I move it in that position, now I'm just going to apply that same algorithm. On this case, it's going to be on the right side. So R, U, R, I, U, R, 2U, R, I. And there it's lined up. Now by doing that, we kind of moved one of these centers out of line, so I've got to move it back. I'm going to move it into position here, which is lined up to where we rotated the white out of line and the yellow, and just rotate it back. So we see we've maintained what we've done, and we've put this in line. And we just continue to follow suit. So now we'll work on the orange and green. Orange and green are right here. We'll move this up, move this across. This has to come in contact with this. So we'll just line it up where the colors match. And same thing, but only on the left side. And that puts it where it needs to be. Just take it back where we moved it away from, and move all of our centers back. So this is good, this is good, this is good, and we actually have our cross. Now there's a couple of situations that you're going to run into as you're trying to fill these sides in, and we end up with this situation where this is opposite and this is opposite. So we have this is fine, but only these two are gone. So as you play with it, that might happen. So now the question is, how are we going to flip these? Well, we've seen this before. We've seen this with a Mercury cube. And it's the same thing. We just do that algorithm where we do our R2U, 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 but we can't do it on a non-bandaged side. So I'm just basically going to move it to any bandaged side, which is going to be here, and just do our R2U, 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 until we eventually get things back where they should be. Move it down, and we have our cross situation.